You are tuned in to a fireside chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to a fireside chat with Zany Mystic. I'm your host, Lance White. Tonight, I'm delighted to have Michael J. Murphy return to the show. Michael is a peaceful, nonviolent, independent journalist and political activist from the Los Angeles area whose work focuses on issues that go beyond the interest of the corporate mainstream media. Michael is best known for his movie, What in the World Are They Spraying? And he's here tonight to bring us up to speed on what's going on, his discoveries, and the legal ramifications of the geoengineering programs that are in existence. So let's welcome Michael back to the show now. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Great, Lance. How are you?
I'm good. The last time I spoke with you, you were just kind of on the cutting edge of bringing out the information that many of us have known for over a decade or longer about the fact that there is some kind of weather manipulation and geoengineering which involves particulates in the skies above us. Would you like to share with us what's happened since and what's going on now?
Well, sure, and a whole bunch has happened, actually, and since we released What in the World Are They Spraying, millions of people have had an opportunity to see the film, and we've really started a worldwide movement. So it's awakening people up to what's really going on into the sky, and I think most of your listeners probably are aware of the chemtrail geoengineering issue. Is that right, Lance?
Yes. But, you know, it's so funny to know and see how many people are still in denial about it, even when you tell them to just look up and see it, and when they see it, if it's not on their mainstream news, on their flat screens, they just don't accept it as a reality. So there is an awful lot of resistance and denial to break through, as you well know.
Well, we've actually had quite a bit of success with the film and the way that we put it together. And as you know, we started the film off at the American Association for the Advancement of Science meeting, which was in a geoengineering conference where geoengineers spoke about their plans and proposals to spray 10 to 20 million tons of toxic aluminum into our skies. So it gave it a lot of credibility, and the scientists that we had speaking about the toxicity and what's going on with human health and also with ecosystems. And we're seeing a collapse of ecosystems around the world from this toxic mixture of aluminum, barium, and strontium. So, you know, it is difficult, and it was difficult for me to accept this when I first heard about it. But when you look at it and you see that there have been congressional hearings, Bill Gates is now, for the public record, a funder into geoengineering programs. And then when you look at the science behind it, it's just something that is very difficult to deny. So after watching the film, we have, you know, maybe 1% or 2% of people that see the film still don't want to believe it. And it is, you know, it's a tough realization to believe that corporations involving our government could be spraying toxic chemicals into the sky. But when you really look at why they're doing it, it makes sense. So hopefully we'll be able to get into that tonight.
Yes, I look forward to that. So have you actually been able to uncover at least the reasons that are coming up on the surface? Because we know that the government and the military deny it, and they don't acknowledge having planes, although this is a worldwide program. And other countries must be involved with the spraying because it's going on all over the world, and it's visible and it is tangible in the water, in the snow and ice, at Mount Shasta, in Hawaii, in the organic vegetables, and in our bodies.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Test results do not lie, and there are hundreds of tests now of rain that show contamination of what people call the geoengineering footprint, which is of aluminum, barium, and strontium. Of course, those are all very toxic to human health, and as I stated before, ecology. But also, a lot of people have been getting hair follicle tests, urine tests, and blood tests, which show a very heavy contamination of these particles. There was a group in Mojave County, Arizona, and I think, I could be wrong, but I think 30 people in that area got tested. 26 of them showed extremely high levels of barium, and I believe they were, on average, around 1,000 times the level considered to be elevated of barium. So these are very high levels. A number of them tested very high in aluminum, and I'm not sure what their strontium levels were, but you know, it's a real problem because barium, as you know, is very toxic to human health. It creates a number of issues, compromises our immune system, and creates high blood pressure, which can lead to strokes and heart attacks. So it's definitely a concern.
Well, some of the things that are really disturbing to me include the fact that this is done without anyone's approval, and nobody has been asked the general population if they would accept this program, even if it has the highest motivations. And the other thing is that they can put anything in those chemtrails, or the geoengineering substances, and nobody is the wiser. So at some level, there have been documented biological entities and things that are not, that are diseases and various pathogens and blood and a whole plethora of horrific, potentially horrific elements. Have you seen that happening? Have you been able to verify that and test it in the laboratory?
Well, we have not specifically tested for biologicals. I know Clifford Carnicom has done a real fantastic job at uncovering that, and you're correct. He's found a lot of different biologicals, found links to Morgellons. With our investigation, we're essentially following this from the geoengineering standpoint. As you know, geoengineers, who are now, by the way, this is news, admitting that they're doing localized testing. They won't say what the particulate is or what the areas that they're testing in are. So they are now coming out admitting that it's going on a very, very small scale. However, we know through tests and what we see in the sky, this is a worldwide program. It's without a doubt in full-scale deployment because we don't have blue skies that we had just a couple of years ago.
Exactly. I mean, that's pretty obvious, and the sunsets have disappeared, and rarely do we ever have the kind of blue skies with natural cumulus puffy white clouds that are a natural process of the Earth's biosphere.
That's absolutely correct, and one of the reasons what I wanted to also bring up, NOAA just did a study where they found very high levels of atmospheric particulates up in the stratosphere. It's very interesting because they failed to source the particulate or test it, but it is in studies that we do have an incredible increase of particulate. So it's interesting. They're not, again, saying where this is from, but we know exactly where it's from. It's from chemtrail geoengineering programs.
Something interesting that I ran across not terribly long ago was from another site. Somebody had been bragging this is of course conjecture and rumor, but one of the pilots had been bragging that he was flying one of these planes and was making just an enormous amount of money, and was kind of throwing it around. This is the story in the bar, and he talked about doing that and the secret program and he kind of felt like 007 doing these, secret programs that nobody knew about. Have we been able to identify where these planes are coming from, and have we been able to see what they look like, or talk with somebody who actually is involved with that project?
Well, there are a number of photographs of various planes spraying. It's believed that Evergreen Air is very involved. They used to be a CIA front company. They still are a CIA company. But they used to be Air America. But
wow.
it's not a real simple question. There are many different governments and corporations involved with these programs, so they're flying out of many different airports. And again, there's a lot of involvement. These are worldwide programs. So I'm hoping to investigate that further in perhaps another film down the road. But right now I'm focusing on the weather control aspect of this.
Well, when you mention weather control, it's pretty much, at least as far as the people that probably are listening to this show are concerned, is a fact that the major governments and countries and corporations have sophisticated technology for weather wars, and that they are creating weather that is not necessarily what we would, what the Earth would naturally create. So some of the earthquakes and tsunamis and the rest of it are said to be created by these various devices. Is there a connection between those devices that are said to be there already and the chemtrails?
Well, I certainly believe so. And a lot is surfacing in regards to weather control. Iran's president, Ahmadinejad, came out a couple months ago, and he stated that Western countries were using weather technology to create droughts in his country. And, of course, we see dramatic weather changes not only here in America but across the globe. So what it is, I just got back from Orlando, and I attended the American Association for Aerosol Research conference for 2 days. And I learned a whole lot about aerosols and how they affect clouds and precipitation. And just as I suspected, aerosols do affect clouds and precipitation, as that particulate can interact with water droplets and create rain in certain areas or droughts in certain areas. So it's very interesting. We do know that, again, that aerosols do affect weather, and we do know there's an increase in aerosols, but aluminum, which, again, is being found in thousands of times the normal amounts in our atmosphere, is also a very effective conductor when it's put into our atmosphere. And it's believed that the HARP system emits a frequency and interacts with this aluminum. I think it's important to note, geoengineers have boasted about their ability to heat up over 400 square miles of our atmosphere. Why would they want to do that? Well, if you look at what that would do, if you heat up parts of our atmosphere, you can create high-pressure systems and low-pressure systems and steer storms. Other particulate will interact with clouds and produce more rain or less rain, depending on what's put into those clouds. So it's not rocket science. It's pretty basic science. But there's no question it's going on, and I want to source something that we covered in What in the World Are They Spraying? It was a military document called Owning the Weather by 2025. Oh, yeah. And that's certainly in interest of our military. And, you know, the first time I heard about weather control, I really asked, you know, why would somebody want to control the weather, until I began to understand. There are many military, as you stated, objectives that can be met with weather control, and as Iran's president had stated, it's a very effective weapon because you don't have to use expensive and costly and time-consuming propaganda to get a public behind these efforts. You can just blame it on God. But why weather control? Let's look at what it does. If you control weather, you can not only control the food supply of the world, but you can also control
You are tuned in to a fireside chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
With you, you were just kind of on the cutting edge of bringing out the information that many of us have known for over a decade or longer about the fact that there is some kind of weather manipulation and geoengineering which involves particulates in the skies above us. Would you like to share with us what's happened since and what's going on now?
Well, sure.
Welcome to a fireside chat with Zany Mystic. I'm your host, Lance White. Tonight, I'm delighted to have Michael J. Murphy return to the show. Michael is a peaceful, nonviolent, independent journalist and political activist from the Los Angeles area whose work focuses on issues that go beyond the interest of the corporate mainstream media. Michael is best known...
And a whole bunch has happened, actually, and since we released What in the World Are They Spraying, millions of people have had an opportunity to see the film, and we've really started a worldwide movement. So it's awakening people up to what's really going on into the sky. And I think most of your listeners probably are aware of the chemtrail geoengineering issue. Is that right, Lance?
Yes. But you know, it's so funny for his movie, What in the World Are They Spraying? And he's here tonight to bring us up to speed on what's going on, his discoveries, and the legal ramifications of the geoengineering programs that are in existence. So let's welcome Michael back to the show now. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Great, Lance. How are you?
I'm good. The last time I spoke